Alright, welcome back to Bit Heroes. In the first video we talked about, or in the previous video we talked about the character sheet, we talked about cosmetics, a little bit about the pet, stats and stat distributions and builds. We're going to go a little bit deeper into that and talk about the bonuses to the character. So if you click the info button, you're going to see a lot of information here. We're just going to run through that. Again, I talked about how the level of your character is not the most valuable info for you. The power of your character is determined by your total stats. So people say, what's your total stats? What's your TS? That is going to be listed for you right here. So 1312 is my character's total stats. And here's the breakdown of how much power, stamina, and agility. So power is how much damage or healing a skill does. Your stamina times 10 is going to be how much health your character has. That's how much damage you can take before you die. And the agility is going to determine how frequent your attacks are. And again, to keep it simple, the way it works is power plus agility is going to give you your damage over time. So if I have 700 power and 300 agility, that adds up to 1,000. You will do the same damage over time as if I have reversed and more power, bigger damage. Your pet also scales off of that, and your agility again is going to be the frequency of attacks. And there's different bonuses for each, and as I talk about, or different benefits for each, and as I talk about these different bonuses, it'll help explain why would I want more power or more agility or what, why, and when. Damage bonus is going to be a multiplier. So after your damage is calculated, it's going to be a multiplier. It's going to increase your damage. Health bonus is going to do the same thing for your health. The difference is health bonus also gives you a little bit of regen between battles. So you finish a battle, you're moving to the next one, you'll get a little bit of healing. It'll be small, and so most people don't actually notice this. But if you have 1% or 5%, that's how much you're going to heal between battles on top of the bonus to health that your character experiences. But again, it's small, no one really cares about it. Speed bonus is going to work similarly with your agility, so that's going to give you a faster attack rate and thus more damage over time. It is not going to have any effect with your movement speed. That's completely different. Crit chance is a chance for your skill to do on baseline 50% more damage. You can of course increase all these things with accessories and runes and chants that I'll try to go into in this video. But here's your baseline, 10% to crit, and then it's baseline 50% more damage. Your evade chance is a chance to avoid all damage, so attack comes at you, you evade it, no damage done. The downsides of evade, and one of the reasons why it's one of the least valued defensive stats, is that one, the percent's very low, so the chance you could have 30% evade chance, which is quite high, but you could still not evade 5 attacks in a row, take full damage because you've elected to have evade instead of some of these other defensive bonuses, and you can get wrecked. So the percent chance is low, so you're suffering more from the randomness of the game. And then on top of it, if you're a tank and you have a pet that the effect goes off when you're hit, you're not getting hit, so that's not going to go off. So better than nothing, but not what I'm looking for. As far as block chance, a lot of builds will build up a ton of block in there, and block caps it at 100%. So if you have 100% block, you're always blocking, and what block does is it reduces the damage taken by 50%. So 100% block chance is going to give you 50% damage reduction. And less than that, it's going to be a chance to block, so it's a chance to get 50% damage reduction, and all these things stack. Lifesteal is so small that no one really cares about it. The healing from it is very, very small, so offensive characters don't really aim for that. Damage and rage is a percentage of the damage that your character takes will actually go into the damage they deal, and you can choose when to add that damage in, so that's a pretty good one. Deflect chance is really powerful, mainly in PvP, player versus players, and especially in guild versus guild. It's a chance for you to send the attack that's coming in right back at the attacker, and deflect can theoretically go on infinitely. If 2 different targets have deflect on them, it can bounce back and forth, back and forth. It doesn't happen, but theoretically it could, until it doesn't. Absorb chance is a chance for damage coming in to actually be received as healing, and that's used pretty effectively by different familiar pets and by some players. Damage reduction is the most popular stat for defensive characters because there's no randomness to it. The amount of damage reduction you have, it's going to reduce all the damage you take by that chance, and you're also getting hit, so your shield's going off. So most valuable stat for defensive characters by far damage reduction, with block being pretty close depending on how your build's going. Dual strike is a chance for your skill to hit twice, and if you have a pet that goes off when you hit targets, that's a second chance for that skill to go off, or the pet to have the effect. Empower chance is similar to crit, but it's actually a % chance for your skill to do double damage, and that can also stack with crit, so you can have an empower and a crit at the same time. Your redirect chance is very important for tanky characters because redirect is different from deflect. Redirect is the chance, let's say an attack, your character is tanky and an attack is going at someone who's more glassy or has less defense on your team. You have a chance to put that attack off them and onto you and save them. And so when you start running into scenarios where you have deflects, you can have really high damage and low defense either familiars or players on your team that deal a ton of damage, and if they get deflected, they'll kill themselves. But you have a chance to redirect that, and that's actually one of the reasons why deflect is one of the reasons why that characters that have a ton of power and a ton of damage will actually start cutting their power down, and they will start increasing their speed. That way they can't one-shot themselves, or in some cases, if your damage is so high, you can actually one-shot your redirect tank. So that's not fun, and that's the one reason why people will actually bring their power down. Another reason is that overkill. So if you have a ton of power and you're attacking some enemy that has like 1% health left and you deal 1,000,000 damage, you're wasting all that damage. And if you have overtime, speed builds actually are more favorable if you look at overtime statistics because they have less overkill and less waste. The only caveat to that is the pet depends on how it affects the pet, and also your mount skills. Your mount skill is a skill that you can only use once per adventure. So if you have a lot of speed and your power is low, your skill is going to hit for less, and you can only use it once per adventure, so per dungeon, per whatever. Not per fight, but per adventure. And then quad strike is a chance for your attack to fire 4 additional times. That means 5 total attacks, not 4 attacks. 4 additional attacks, so it's 5. So you can quad strike, you can dual strike, all these things can go off, and that's why a lot of offensive characters benefit a lot from accessories and bonuses that kind of spread it out a little bit. What's also not listed here is Ricochet Chance. There is a special mythic item that has a Ricochet Chance. That means if you fire an attack, it hits one enemy, it has a chance to bounce and hit other enemies. It's a very small % chance, and you don't see it listed here. And then lastly, here you got your bonuses. So item find is a chance for you to find more items. Gold find is a chance for you to get more gold, for straightforward experience, yada. The movement speed is how fast you move around. It's also how fast the attacks occur, but it's not attack speed. It just means how fast you wrap up that dungeon and get through that fight. Nice to have. And your capture rate. So we'll talk about familiars more in a separate video because I want to do justice to it. But capture rate is the chance for your familiar to give you a chance to capture this. So yes, it's a chance for a chance. And you can increase these. You can increase these with the daily bonus changes. You can have weekly bonuses if there's special events going on. You can get potions and boost this, and then these also can be multiplied further by bonuses such as this. If I'm going to go into a raid, you see here that I've got these bonuses here. This is a multiplier, so everything else is additive. All those bonuses multiplied, added up, and then you can, all the bonuses added up will be multiplied by the raid multiplier here. So if I had 100% item find here, and now I've got 400% increased here, that's going to be 5 times as much. So there you go. How am I doing on time? That's pretty good.